almost there. No way. What is this? You're tuned in to the Eyes Open podcast, where secrets aren't safe and we see it all.
I'm sorry to have to admit it, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm afraid as a society, as civilization in general, we are cooked. We are completely cooked. And honestly, you need to, I've told people this before, you need to look no further than the comment section on, a crazy video I put out, or take a look at the inside of my inbox. I was talking about how I could literally start a whole nother podcast and show just based off of the deranged stuff that I get in my inbox. And I gave you guys a glimpse of, what was it, a couple shows back, I gave you guys a little bit of a glimpse of some of the stuff. And that's only just the rude comments and stuff like that. It's not even a speck. Okay? It's not even a speck of sand on a whole beach to show the amount of lunacy that I hear all the time in my inbox. But nonetheless, if you really look at the way things are going, you cannot look around and say, we are better off than we've ever been. I mean, think about that. Isn't that wild? Technology is advancing. You think civilization, morality, all of these types of characteristics in men would get better. Technology is getting better. Why aren't humans in general getting better? Why aren't we able to express ourselves in better ways? Why is everything going downhill as a society, period, in general? People don't really stop and think about that. For example, I'm a type of person who will never say how do I put this? You're not supposed to let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. When I give to people or I'm generous, I don't ever put it out there. I don't tell people about it. And that's not to throw shade at the people who, believe it or not, I think differently on this now that we get on this topic. The people who go out and film themselves giving food to the homeless and doing these good deeds, as a content creator, I understand why they do it. And it makes sense because the videos they make generates the money that they can go ahead and give back with. So I don't see no problem with that at all. What I'm talking about is I was in line at a store, okay, and there's an old lady behind me that, didn't have that much stuff. So I said, you know what? I'll go ahead and get her groceries for her. And she looks at me, and it was just wild. I was like, this is where we've gotten as a society. She was like, but why? And I'm like, it even took me, it took me back for a second. I was like, I don't know, because, I wanted to help somebody out. I figured, why not help somebody out once in a while? And to me, it like had me scattered brain, because I'm like, is this where we've gotten as a society? Even the smallest gesture of kindness, it just throws people completely off. They're like, why? Is that where we're at now? Where people are just so rotten to people that if you're even slightly nice to somebody, it comes off as strange, as weird. When back in the day, I mean, it was a great gesture, and people were like, that's very nice of you to do that. And it wasn't as shocking. But now, if you even give back slightly to somebody, it's considered weird at this point. It's wild. It's considered weird, and it throws people off. And I mean, maybe it's just how I was brought up, but how I was brought up, people looked out for each other. We shared. Nowadays, it's whose throat does somebody cut to get ahead? It really is. People, I would rather struggle and never have to do any type of financial, physical, any sort of harm to another human being at all, ever. I would never want to do that in order to make money. But look at how many people do it to make money. It's commonplace. I mean, from the companies that sell us poison, and the crazy part is they know what they're doing. Okay, these companies that are doing this, they know what they're doing. They know that the stuff in your food causes cancer. They know that they're selling you poison and trying to make it seem like it's something great for you to put inside of your body. They know what they're doing, but they do it anyways, and they don't care. They do it with impunity. Me personally, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. I don't know how these people live with themselves. So, in a sense, morality and how human beings, that is what is supposed to separate us from the animals. That we don't just devour each other, that we look out for each other, we help each other when we can. We are sympathetic to other people's situations. But now we're not at all. And that's why I would say there was a certain I don't even like to speak on certain people because I don't want to give any person or attention to any type of situation that doesn't deserve it. It's just a waste of my time. I'm not the type to sit here and if you can, because I don't answer messages, if you catch me in a comment section, that's usually where I'll respond to somebody. But even that's getting exhausting now. It's like there's no point even saying anything to people. People don't listen to you anyways. And even if they did listen to you, what would you gain from convincing somebody? It doesn't seem to make people, act differently. People see all the type of things going on now, and it doesn't make them act any differently. If anything, society is getting progressively worse because of it. So everything from people's financial situations to their mental health to everything is declining. And what's going right along with it? The morality of this world, people's morality is completely stripped clean, gone. Finito. And I don't think people talk about it enough. They don't. We live in a very self-absorbed me society. It's really just what it is. And it's so far away from, what I'm the type of normality that I'm used to living in. It's not something where it's all me, screw everybody else, I don't care. That's not me. It defeats the whole purpose of what I do. If I didn't care about people, okay, if I did not care about people, I would not be doing what I do. I do what I do, and I do this show because now, mind you, not everything on my show is all completely 100% fact. I make fun some videos, poking fun at stuff. It's my show is supposed to be a mirror of me, of how I am. That's just how I am in real life. Okay? I make fun of serious situations sometimes. I'm serious sometimes. It all depends. But people just have this one track way about them nowadays. That's another thing. That's not me. I'm in different places all the time. I might be in a funny mood. It just all depends. But nowadays, it's gotten to where there's certain things that only people that are towards the levels like me, when you start getting up to over hundreds of thousands of followers and you're getting tons of messages from people, I mean, it's been a while now. Ever since I crossed, I would say 125,000 or so followers, I couldn't even read the messages anymore. From the emails to the messages, from Facebook to Instagram to you name it. It just there's no point in even reading the stuff anymore. Cuz it's just, if it ain't somebody trying to offer me something or somebody trying to pitch something to me or somebody trying to come on to the show, somebody trying to get me to feature something. I mean, the messages are all over the place. So to all the people that have been following me for a very long time, if I don't get back to you in a message, go look at my page and you'll see what I'm talking about. I talk to people all the time in the comments because I don't even get into my message box anymore. I'll glance through some stuff. Emails are more closer. I respond if it's a serious inquiry more to an email. So now I start to understand why people will send stuff to influencers through Instagram, and you guys have to realize, man, I'm nowhere near the levels of some of these people with millions of followers, but even at close to 250,000, I'm seeing how insane it is. That, well, no, it's more than 250,000 with if you combined all my platforms. But that's what I'm saying is, like, when you start getting, over 250,000 followers, it's as long as your audience is engaged, it's too much to get back to everybody. You just can't do it. And like I said, the doing this has given me another type of input on the world that some people never get. It's an insight that a lot of people don't get. You get to see inside of the human brain. You get to see a part of humanity that a lot of people don't get to. Because people, I don't know if it's because of the type of stuff I talk about on the page, but it's like people have no problem showing, because I want to explain this in the right way. It's not just like people are saying nasty stuff to me or about me. It's not all that. I mean, you'll get some hate mail here and there like any other influencer, but a lot of it's just weird. Okay. It's like I have to step back from sometimes certain stuff because it makes me lose a lot of faith in humanity. So I'm like, wow. When I look at some of the stuff, it's not even just in my inbox, just online in general. I'm like, man, now I see why God says narrow is the way. Because some people are so out here lost. I mean, really, truly lost, like bad. It's really, really wild. And I wouldn't say I can't let anything change me, and it won't. Nothing's going to change me and how I perceive the world and stop me on my mission of what I need to do. But I can guarantee you it's made me look at situations and the world a lot differently than I used to. Especially with how divided Americans are. I mean, more than anything, I know people from all over the world, and Americans have to be one of the most divided cultures on planet Earth. And it might be more evident, I've noticed, on certain platforms versus others. But man, whoever's turning that wheel of division is doing it very, very well. Because now it seems like division is normal for a lot of people. They wake up in the morning just breeding division. But at the same time, I don't think, this is the crazy part, I think people should be at least united in the same type of thought of what they want: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right? That's what they promise us Americans. What we have here in America. That's what people are coming here for: the American dream, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But at the same time, I don't think that all people in America are meant to intermingle. That's where the biggest issue comes into play. See, people have a problem with, for example, say, oh, we're all the same. We're all the same. No, we're not all the same. That's the problem. We need to stop that. We're all the same. We're not. And that's okay. That's fine. If anything, I would go as far as to say that's what makes us great as a culture in America. We're not all the same. I go to a lot of countries where everybody's the same. It's boring. The fun part about America is we are not all the same. But instead of embracing that, we weaponize it against each other. We try to say that being different from each other is a bad thing. It's not. So instead of arguing over our differences, why don't we embrace our differences and learn how to just let people be? And if we did that, I think the world, well, First of all, we can't control the whole freaking world. America's getting so out of control, we can barely control what we have right here in front of us. So I would go as far as to say that's another thing too, is the biggest problem is America's too concerned, well, at least the leaders in America are too concerned with trying to please everyone all the time. And you can't do that. That's another big issue. There's some of us that are going to say, I don't like the way this is going, but and that's what they've taught us too, is, see, when you think about it, people want to be free. Okay? You want to be free. But freedom looks different for different people. Just depends on who you are. Some people, freedom to them is the freedom to choose. Democracy, in a sense, is not the freedom to choose when you look at it. It's majority rules. Okay? The Constitution was technically written for you to live how you see fit. Because what happens is, if morality continues to go out the window, okay, that means a bunch of ridiculously moronic, immoral people will eventually decide how the smaller group of people that still hold morals as an important part of their being you're done, you're cooked, you're screwed, because they're going to decide now what laws and stuff that you have to live up to. So no, that's not how it's supposed to be. And I think until people do realize that, that's what it is. That's what it is with every agenda they have out there. I think a lot of people would even say, we didn't give a shit about none of you transgenders and people that want to do all this wacky stuff until you want to jam it down everybody's throats. How about this? Okay? If you have to tell me about your lifestyle, okay, and celebrate it, is it normal? I do a lot of normal shit that I don't celebrate. So ask yourself that. Does a normal lifestyle need to be celebrated? No. I don't celebrate that. I'm a straight white male because it's just a normal part of society. So stop treating whatever you are. I don't care if it's black, transgender, whatever you are. Stop treating it as if it's abnormal. If it's abnormal, then you yourself are telling it by saying, hey, this is abnormal and I'm going to act accordingly. I'm going to make sure that everybody has to know it. I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. Now, do I think being transgender is abnormal? Absolutely. Do I think that we need to do a way with people thinking that they need a prize because, or be treated specially because they're a black American or whatever? No. I think we need to stop with all this special treatment for anybody. I don't think anybody should get special treatment. I can't believe in 2026 we are still arguing over trivial shit. Seriously. And I know the people that run stuff are just up there laughing their asses off. They're like, man, they're still arguing over race. They're still arguing over who everybody's sleeping with. I mean, it's insane. Whatever you do on your own time is your own business and is between you and God. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. Even though I get paid for my opinion, I'm still not going to go out of my way to talk on a bunch of trivial nonsense. The deeper root issue here is the fact that morality and everything's going out the window, period. That's what it is. If you guys haven't went and looked up the videos of last July 4th of the stuff that was going on, I seen people blowing their hands off. I seen people shooting rockets into open dwellings. There was like this dude took a parking cone and like shot a rocket into a bar and it exploded. And then I seen there was teens all over the country taken to the streets and just rioting and taking things over. It's crazy. They were throwing mortar shells over into crowds. One of them blew up right by a female cop, and she fell to the ground, was like holding her face. So I can only imagine what happened to her. But last 4th of July was some of the most depraved, craziest stuff I've seen done ever on July 4th. And that's when I seen that, that's when I was like, it's something that we need to talk about as Americans. We absolutely need to talk about, because we are definitely living, like the Bible says, in the days of Noah. And what is that like? What was it like in the days of Noah? Violence had overcome the world. And that's what it is. Because see, me personally, like if somebody broke into my house and I had to take them out, I might even feel bad about it and say, what, that's a human being that maybe they're in a bad part of their life. I don't know. I would do it, but I'd feel bad about it. But it's weird when I see all of this type of depravity that's going on in the world, and I just look at this and I say, people don't have no sense of remorse or sense of empathy at all anymore. Like, that's where we're at. I turn on the TV and I feel like I'm watching a bunch of, it's worse than animals. I'm seeing animals have more compassion at this point than human beings. It's wild. And then it makes me wonder, you can only imagine what would happen in this country if we were faced with a national emergency. Just think about that. If there was a national emergency that came out of nowhere, people can't act right now when they have all the comforts of the world at their fingertips. Think about that. People are overeating nowadays. We're all a bunch of overweight Americans. We got so much food that we're overweight, while other people are starving in other countries. We have all the amenities that people need and all the comforts, but people are acting as crazy as they've ever have. It's wild. So it kind of goes to show, like the experiment I showed, what was it, Planet 500 or whatever, where it was the mouse experiment. That just makes that even make more sense. The more that a society has everything they need, from food, water, everything they need, the worse and the more that society starts to break down. And the scary part is I see us right there in the middle of that as we speak. And I think it's a situation that a lot of people need to open their eyes to what is really going on around them, because the world is getting crazier by the minute.